Welcome back. Please like, share the video, and subscribe to the channel.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Today, we are talking about a very long meeting in Russia. President Putin spoke to the world for over 4 hours.
Wow, 4 hours. That is a long time. What was the main message, Jamie?
Well, he looked very confident. He said the Russian military is doing very well. He used a big phrase, strategic initiative.
Strategic initiative. That sounds difficult. What does it mean?
It basically means Russia feels they are in control and moving forward in the war. He said his troops are advancing and the other side is retreating.
I see. But what about the peace plan from the United States? I know President Trump is working hard to end the conflict.
Exactly. Putin mentioned President Trump's plan. He said he knows Washington is trying to help, but he still has very strict rules for peace.
Right. Like what? What does he want?
Well, he wants a lot. He said Ukraine must not join NATO. He also wants to keep the land Russia has taken. He even wants to change laws about the Russian language there.
So there is still a big gap between what President Trump wants and what Putin wants. It sounds like a difficult situation.
It really is. Putin also spoke to his own people. He promised more money for social payments and new roads. He wants Russians to feel that their economy is strong.
So he is showing strength to the world and to his own citizens.
Exactly, Alex. He is showing that Russia is ready for a long fight if they don't get what they want.
That is very interesting. Thank you for explaining that, Jamie.
You're welcome. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next time.
Welcome to our daily news update. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Today, we have some very big news from the White House.
That's right. President Trump just signed a major executive order that changes how the government looks at marijuana.
It's a huge shift. President Trump moved marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 under the law.
Wow, Schedule 3? Can you explain what that means for our listeners?
Of course. For a long time, the government said marijuana was as dangerous as heroin. That is Schedule 1. Now it is in the same group as medicines like ketamine or steroids.
I see. So why did President Trump decide to make this change?
Well, he said it is because of medical facts. President Trump wants doctors to be able to use it to help patients. He noted that for many Americans, medical marijuana could be a better choice than dangerous, addictive painkillers called opioids.
Right, exactly. This also helps scientists, doesn't it?
Yes. Before this, it was very hard for scientists to get money to study the drug. Now they can get federal grants for research and clinical trials much more easily.
That sounds like a big win for science. But Jamie, does this mean marijuana is now legal for everyone to use for fun?
No, not at all. It is important to remember that recreational use is still illegal under federal law. President Trump said this is strictly about medicine and research.
Oh, okay. So the government will still focus on stopping illegal drug sellers.
Exactly. The police will still go after big illegal traffickers, but for doctors and pharmaceutical companies, it's a whole new world.
Wow. This is the biggest change in federal drug policy in decades. Thanks for explaining it, Jamie.
You're welcome, Alex. It's definitely a story to watch.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our daily news podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. We have some very big news today regarding President Trump and a major military deal.
That's right, Jamie. The U.S. government just approved selling $11 billion worth of military equipment to Taiwan. $11 billion.
Wow, that is a huge number. For our listeners, arms just means military weapons. So, Alex, why is this happening now?
Well, the main goal is to help Taiwan defend itself. The package includes things like Stinger missiles and advanced defense systems for the coast. It's meant to keep the island safe.
I see. So it's about protection. But I imagine not everyone is happy about this, right?
You're exactly right. China is very angry. They called it interference in their internal business. They even warned that this move could make things more tense in the region.
That sounds serious. But President Trump has a different view, doesn't he?
Exactly. President Trump has often said that a strong defense is the best way to keep peace. He believes that if Taiwan is strong, it will stop any potential fighting before it starts.
Oh, I understand. It's a deterrent. And I heard that leaders from both political parties in Washington actually agree on this?
Right. Both parties support the sale. They want to maintain stability in the area. Plus, it is a big boost for U.S. companies that make these defense systems.
So it is a mix of safety, politics, and business.
Precisely. We will have to watch how the relationship between Washington, Taipei, and Beijing changes after this.
For sure. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for listening to our news summary.
See you next time.
Hello and welcome to Science Daily. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Today, we have a huge story about big money and even bigger science.
Exactly. Tech billionaires just pledged $1 billion to CERN. That is the famous science center in Europe.
Wow, $1 billion? That is a lot of zeros. Why are they giving so much money?
Well, they want to build a new machine called the Future Circular Collider, or FCC. It will be a massive 62-mile underground ring.
62 miles? That is almost 4 times bigger than the current machine. What is the goal?
They want to smash tiny particles together at very high speeds. They hope to unlock secrets about dark matter and how our universe began.
That sounds like a science fiction movie, but usually governments pay for these projects. Here at home, President Trump is looking closely at the national budget. Is it normal for billionaires to pay for this?
Not really. This is actually the first time in history that CERN has asked private individuals for help. People like Eric Schmidt from Google are leading the way.
Right, but wait, will these rich donors control the science? That makes me a bit nervous.
That is a good question, Jamie. But CERN says don't worry. They assured the public that the donors will have no influence over the research or the results.
Okay, that is good to hear. It also helps Europe stay competitive, especially since China is building its own giant machine.
Exactly. And the technology is useful for us too. This research helps create better medical imaging and energy efficiency.
So it's a win for everyone. It's the start of a new era of philanthropic science.
It really is. Thanks for joining us today.
See you next time.
Hello and welcome to Global Daily. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Today we're talking about a historic change in Japan that is making headlines everywhere.
That's right. The Bank of Japan just raised its main interest rate to 0.75%. Now, Jamie, that might sound like a small number, but it is actually the highest it has been in 30 years.
Wow, 30 years? That is a very long time. I remember hearing that Japan had 0 or even negative interest rates for decades.
Exactly. They used to call it the lost decades because the economy was so quiet. But now, the bank is finally moving away from that.
Right. So why did they decide to do it now?
Well, bank officials say the Japanese economy is strong and prices are rising. They want to make the financial system normal again.
I see. And this is a big deal for the rest of the world, too. I'm sure President Trump is watching this closely.
Oh, definitely. President Trump and his team are monitoring these global markets. When Japan raises rates, the Japanese yen usually gets stronger against other currencies. This changes how people invest their money all over the world.
Interesting. So if I am a person living in Japan, is this good news?
Well, it depends. If you have a savings account, you will finally earn some interest. That's great, right?
Right. But what about people with loans?
Exactly. That's the catch. If you have a house loan, your monthly payments might go up. It's a big shift for everyone.
Wow. It sounds like a new era for Japan. Thanks for explaining that, Alex.
My pleasure. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next time.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Today, we have some big news about money and prices in America.
That's right, Alex. Everyone is talking about inflation. For our listeners, that basically means how much prices go up over time.
Exactly. A new report says the inflation rate is now at 2.7%. That is actually lower than it was a few months ago.
Wow, that sounds like good news for our wallets. I noticed that prices for things like eggs and gasoline are finally going down.
Right, those are cheaper now. But there is a but, Jamie. While some things are cheaper, the costs for housing and electricity are still climbing.
I see. So people are still feeling some stress. And what about jobs? I heard some news about that too.
You're right. The unemployment rate rose to 4.6%. That is the highest it has been in over 4 years.
So inflation is cooling down, but the economy feels a bit stagnant or stuck. More people are looking for work.
Exactly. President Trump promised a golden age for the economy during his campaign. Now, many people are watching him closely to see if that happens.
President Trump says his plan is to focus on energy production and cutting rules to help businesses.
He says these high prices were inherited from the past.
Right. He believes his strategy will fix the economy soon. However, some experts are divided. They aren't sure if the government should change its policy yet.
It's a difficult balance. We want lower prices, but we also want everyone to have a job.
Well said, Jamie. It's a complicated situation for President Trump and the country.
Definitely. Thanks for explaining that, Alex.
Of course. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our news podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Today, we're talking about a big decision from President Trump regarding immigration.
That's right. President Trump has issued an executive order to stop the diversity visa program, also known as the Green Card Lottery.
Oh, wow. The Green Card Lottery is how many people come to live in the U.S., right? Why the change?
Well, it follows the tragic shootings at Brown University and MIT. It's a very sad situation for the whole country.
Definitely. But why did those events lead to this decision by the president?
An investigation showed that the suspect in those shootings entered the U.S. through that specific lottery program.
I see.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our news podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Today, we're talking about a big decision from President Trump regarding immigration.
That's right. President Trump has issued an executive order to stop the diversity visa program, also known as the Green Card Lottery.
Oh, wow. The Green Card Lottery is how many people come to live in the U.S., right? Why the change?
Well, it follows the tragic shootings at Brown University and MIT. It's a very sad situation for the whole country.
Definitely. But why did those events lead to this decision by the president?
An investigation showed that the suspect in those shootings entered the U.S. through that specific lottery program.
I see. So President Trump is taking action to close what the government calls security gaps.
Exactly. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said President Trump is taking decisive action to protect national security.
President Trump mentioned vetting in his speech, right? What does that mean for our learners?
Great question. Vetting means checking a person's history and background very carefully. President Trump believes the lottery program is too loose and needs to be more merit-based.
I understand. He wants to make sure people are checked thoroughly before they arrive. But people are debating this, aren't they?
They are. Some civil rights groups say the lottery is vital for global diversity. They argue that one criminal shouldn't end a long-standing program.
Right. However, the administration says the suspension will stay until they finish a total and complete review of security.
Exactly. President Trump is prioritizing safety on college campuses and in our cities.
It's a very big shift in policy. Thanks for the update, Alex.
You're welcome. See you next time, everyone.
Welcome back to our daily news update for English learners. Today, we have a very serious topic to discuss.
Right, Alex. This week, President Trump signed a new executive order. He is officially calling fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction.
Wow, a weapon of mass destruction? We usually use that name for things like chemical bombs, right?
Exactly. By using this strong name, President Trump can now use the military and special intelligence groups to stop the drug. It is a major part of his safety-first agenda.
I see. So the government can use more resources to catch the drug before it even reaches the U.S. borders.
Yes, that is the main goal. The president is targeting the criminal groups and foreign cartels that make the drug. He wants the police to have more power to stop them.
You know, I read a shocking statistic. The police seized 8,000 pounds of fentanyl last year alone.
That is incredible, Alex. Experts say that much fentanyl is enough to provide over 360 million deadly doses.
That is a huge number. This is why President Trump says the government must be the toughest in history on drug traffickers.
Right. He is asking for much longer prison sentences for the people involved in this business.
What do people think about this new move?
Well, many police officers are very happy. They say it gives them the teeth they need to fight back. However, some health experts worry that we also need more doctors and treatment for people who are addicted.
President Trump mentioned that too. He said that changing the rules for marijuana recently was a way to give people safer options for pain management.
So it is a very big plan for the year 2026.
It definitely is. Thanks for joining us today to learn about this news.
See you next time.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Jamie, have you noticed your phone is becoming your entire bank?
Oh, definitely, Alex. And today we have some huge news about two famous apps, PayPal and Monzo.
Right. Let's start with PayPal. They are planning to open PayPal Bank in the U.S.
Wow, a real bank? That's big.
It is. They want to offer savings accounts and loans to small businesses. They even hired a veteran banking expert, Mara McNeil, to run things.
That's smart. Meanwhile, in Europe, the app Monzo is moving fast too. They just got a full banking license for the whole European Union.
Exactly. And they bought a company called Habito. This means users can buy a house and get a mortgage, a home loan, directly through the Monzo app.
A mortgage in an app? That is so convenient.
These companies are not just apps anymore. They are becoming the new pillars of the banking world.
And it is a great time for this expansion. President Trump and his administration are currently supporting more technology in the financial sector.
That is a good point. President Trump wants to see more innovation. It makes things faster and easier for customers.
Right. So in the next few years, we might not need to visit a physical bank building at all.
I think you're right, Jamie. Everything is moving to our pockets.
It is so exciting to watch. Thanks for joining us today to talk about the future of money.
See you next time.
Hello and welcome to our podcast. Today we have some very sad news from the world of American sports.
That's right, Alex. It is a very somber day for NASCAR fans. The famous driver Greg Biffle and several members of his family passed away in a plane crash.
It is so tragic. The crash happened in a wooded area in North Carolina on Thursday. There were 7 people on the private plane, and sadly, officials say there were no survivors.
Wow, 7 people. That is such a huge loss for the community. Greg was only 55 years old. He was truly a legend in the racing world.
Exactly. He was a champion who won many races over 2 decades. He had 19 wins in the Premier Cup Series. He was what we call a fierce competitor, which means he worked very hard and played to win.
He also did a lot of good work outside of racing. He had a foundation that helped take care of animals. He really was a kind person.
Definitely. Even President Trump spoke about this tragedy today. President Trump called Greg Biffle a true racing hero and a great American. It shows how much he meant to the whole country.
It really does. Right now, investigators are looking for the cause of the crash. They think it might be a mechanical failure, but they need more time to be sure.
This tragedy is also making people talk about the safety of private planes. Many athletes and celebrities use them to travel between events quickly.
Right. Safety is always the most important thing. The racing community in Mooresville is very sad today as they remember him.
For sure. We will see many tributes to honor his legacy during the next racing season.
Our hearts go out to the surviving relatives. Thanks for listening today, everyone.